Hey guys, Steve here from Noble Audio. Odyssey is a collaboration between Astell&Kern and Empire Ears that sort of takes aspects of the Empire Ears Odin and Legend Evo and combines them into one really unique limited edition IEM. So, is Odyssey going to add up to the sum of its parts, or maybe even something more? I never get tired of pretty resin-shelled IEMs, and Odyssey is another beautiful design here from Empire Ears, Astell&Kern too. You can see here on the faceplate, get the Astell&Kern A on one side, and the Empire Ears logo on the other. So inside, you've got 10 drivers of bone conduction, 2 dynamic, 5 balanced armature, and 2 electrostatic. I think that makes 10. So this is a pretty big shell, moderately long nozzle. So it might be a tough fit for some, but I found it to be pretty comfortable in general. The cable is the Effect Audio Aries 2, which is actually the same cable that was bundled with the Legend X. So I'm guessing they're trying to get some of those same low-end characteristics from the Legend X in the Odyssey. Imagine this if you can. A wide sound stage, tense imaging, vivid electrostatic treble, and then, have you ever seen the episode of Mythbusters where they build this huge sound system with incredible bass to test the myth of a brown note, a note so low that the frequency can cause an involuntary bowel movement? So you take all those characteristics, throw in the Mythbusters subwoofer, and you've got the Odyssey. So this bass, you have some elevation in the mid bass, but it's largely very clean between the mid bass and the low mids. There's not really kind of bass bleed there. That's a characteristic it got from the Legend Evo to a large degree. Then you have this shelf up into the sub bass, giving you that great rumble. So you've got this nice tight punch and impact up into this low rumble. And then when you think you've extended all the way, it just kind of keeps going. And through the bone conduction driver provides this physical bass that seems like it's too low to hear, but you can still feel it, which is quite the feat in an IEM. The mids are very good, if not the star of the show here. They offer natural timbre, it's a little bright sometimes, good detail, and good balance with instruments and vocals, where you don't get a particularly forward presentation of the vocals. It gets put right in the right place on the stage. As you go up into the treble, great resolution in the treble, as well as that little bit of extra definition, sparkle, little sizzle, and a great extension up into the top end. Altogether, from the imaging characteristics, the bass, mid-range, the treble, Odyssey really in a lot of ways takes the best aspects of Odin and Legend Evo and puts them together in this really incredible fusion. If you've been following our channel, you may have noticed we've had this sort of back-to-back flagship review-a-thon between IEMs, headphones, digital audio players, and right before this, we took a look at the Noble Audio Viking Ragnar. Now, Ragnar and Odyssey end up in 2 different places, but I think there's a lot of interesting similarities between the 2 that make for a good comparison. In terms of the tuning, if you listen to a track that doesn't really go below like 80 hertz, the tuning actually sounds pretty similar. Now, Odyssey still does have a little bit more presence in the bass, but you get similar treble construction with just a little bit of sriracha up top. In the mids they're close. Ragnar's a little bit thicker, a little bit more body there. And the soundstage and imaging, again, very similar image constructions, with Ragnar just feeling a little bit wider and a little bit cohesive, but overall, a lot of the same ideas going on through most of the tuning of both IEMs. When you get down into the lower bass, Ragnar has very clean, linear, accurate bass, right straight down to 20 hertz. Odyssey takes a different look at the bass and gives you that elevation up into the low end that, again, with the bone conduction driver, really extends the physicality of the bass even deeper than you knew bass could go. And what that ends up doing is really recoloring the whole sound, where Ragnar ends up as a reference, maybe just slightly on the bright side in terms of the treble. Odyssey really ends up with this V shape because you have that slight emphasis in the treble along with that deep, heavy bass. You basically I'll put it all together and get these completely different character out of otherwise somewhat similar IEMs. The comparison between Viking Ragnar and Odyssey gets even more interesting when you throw Odin into the mix. Other than hitting some of my favorite points from history and mythology there. With Viking Ragnar, it sort of took a similar design and similar principles to the Odin and sort of turned it into a more reference sound and improved on some of the technical aspects of it as well. With Odyssey, you go in sort of the opposite direction, where rather than pushing it more towards a reference tuning, you say, let's have some fun with this. Let's lift up the bass and just make this really engaging, fun take on a flagship IEM. When I reviewed the Empire Ears Legend Evo, I commented that it had bass in your face, but also bass in its place. And Odyssey is the next level of that, taking that same intense bass, but adding a new layer of technical proficiency on top of that. So, while I can't really say what's next, I can only hope that Odyssey is the sort of experiment that points the way towards greater things in the future of IEMs. Thanks for watching. Check out Odyssey and a lot of other great products at bloomaudio.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon with more hi-fi personal audio content.